my name is Roviera, and I am an animal science major at the University of Maryland. And today I am here with Rachel Neff, the executive director of Promise Landing Farm. Hey, Rachel.
Hey, Christine.
Okay, so my first question is, you work in the horse industry. So when did your passion for horses start?
My mom says that I started talking about horses when I started talking, and they don't know where that came from. I was living in suburbia at the time, and my parents, while they both grew up on farms, are not animal people or horse people at all. But that just happened. So kind of grew from there. I started taking riding lessons when I was 7 or 8 and just never stopped.
Nice. And so right now you currently work at Promise Landing Farm. Could you tell us a little bit about what this center is?
Sure. So Promise Landing Farm is a new startup nonprofit, and our mission is to bring inclusivity into the equine industry. So we teach riding lessons right now for people with and without a variety of special needs. And the plan is to expand beyond just riding lessons into like 4-H type clubs, horsemanship type experiences that would be inclusive and include people of all different levels of abilities. We have a garden that hopefully is going to become a community garden, and we have some connections with the veterans community, so we'll probably be pursuing some programs for veterans and their families as well.
So great. And so what's your typical workday like?
Ooh. No 2 days are the same, that's for sure. But in this role, I really have more of an administrative focus. So I work roughly 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. I go in. I do have an office in the barn. We share it. So it's still small, shared, and like if the farrier, the vet, or a random person who shows up at our property and got lost or just wants to check out the horse that shows up, like I see them too. So it's definitely not like I'm cloistered in a little corner suite somewhere. I'm right in the middle of all the action, but I do development, so fundraising, events, building connections in the community, a lot of the administrative stuff, bookkeeping, budgeting, working with the board, managing the rest of the staff. One of our employees speaks primarily Spanish, and I am the person who speaks Spanish, so I work with him directly, even though in a different situation I might not actually be his direct supervisor. And I do help some with the horses, so I usually ride one most days, and I jump in with lessons when we need someone or don't have a volunteer available. So I could be out in the ring sidewalking and then in on the phone trying to figure out why this bill doesn't make any sense, and then talking to someone who wants to donate something to us, and a little bit of everything.
Oh, that's so interesting. Nice. How did you get in the field of the horse industry?
So I started volunteering at a therapeutic riding program when I was 15 or 16, sometime in high school, because my mom told me that I needed to do something else to put on college applications. And so I just kind of fell into it from there. I went to college, I had an equine minor, and did a couple of internships with a large therapeutic riding program in Dallas. So from there, I was like, hey, that would be really cool. But at the time, I also was open to the fact that maybe like there aren't a lot of jobs that were going to open up. At that time, I thought I wanted to be a barn manager. And so I was applying for jobs at hunter training barns and therapeutic riding programs and whoever would have me. But I landed at Great and Small, which is where we met.
Yes.
And originally I was the barn manager, but I was the only full-time employee. And so someone had to answer the phones and start scheduling volunteers and help new riders get in the program. And it just kind of evolved from there until eventually we changed my title to center director. And after 10 years there, then I got this opportunity to come to Promise Landing and build one from the ground up.
Nice. We miss you very much at Great and Small.
You guys too.
But going off of that, what kind of education or training does your job require?
So I'll tell you what education and training I have, but knowing other executive directors in the industry, people come from a really wide range of backgrounds. So I have a bachelor's in ag business with a double minor in Spanish and equine science. And that having a grasp of the business basics of being able to budget and read financial statements has been really helpful to me. Having the broad ag core background has also been useful to me, because when I have to do our nutrient management plan and read soil test results, I have some vague idea of what we're talking about because I spent one class, one semester studying soil science. So little bits and pieces of all of it have been really helpful, but it is honestly a field that people come into from all different directions. I know someone who was a grant writer for like federal government grants and a yacht salesperson, and now she is therapeutic writing. She was a licensed clinical social worker at one point. I mean, people come from varied and strange backgrounds, but that ability to communicate very effectively in writing and verbally to people what it is you do, why it matters, why they should join the cause is important. So people can come at that from a lot of different ways. If you're wanting to work on the horse side of things, obviously more of the understanding of some basic equine science and plant science for pasture management, those sorts of things is very helpful. But yeah, there's a lot of people who learn it all on the job too.
Mm-hmm. Well, you already touched on it. It was going to be my other question.
Oh, no.
But what skills should someone in your field possess?
So in the field generally, I don't teach writing lessons, and most people in the industry do or have taught. So most people come either from a horse perspective or from an education special needs sort of perspective. And then sometimes in the bigger organizations, people come into the executive director type roles from a business or a corporate nonprofit type background. And any of those things work. Like you can come at it from any direction, but at the end of the day, you're going to need some basic understanding of all of the pieces. And it kind of depends on how your role in the industry is structured, which pieces are most important.
Okay, thanks. And then the opposite to you, what's one of the biggest challenges of your job?
I think one of the biggest, so I started my job April 1st in the middle of all of this chaos. So one of the biggest challenges for me personally has been we're a small, brand new organization in our community. And my plan had been to be out in the community, like meeting other nonprofits, building connections, letting people know that we're here. And going places and meeting people is not a thing that we do anymore. So figuring out how we let people know that we exist, how we build those relationships that later hopefully will turn into volunteers and donations and people who send us their horses, has been an interesting challenge. Figuring out how to, and we're starting to get there, but it definitely, like all of the things that I thought I would do are not on the table right now. So it's okay, what else can we do? In terms of what are like big ongoing challenges in the industry, it's pretty much always fundraising. Like how do you make the money end of things work so that you can keep providing the services? Most people are really like heart driven, and so the services part of things is really comes naturally to them, and sometimes the figuring out how to fund it is the difficult part.
Yeah, for sure. But then what do you like most about your job?
I think what I like most about my job is that there is a lot of variety, that I don't just sit there and do spreadsheets all day, that I do this for a little while, then I go out in the barn for a little while, then I come back in, then I talk to a volunteer who wants to tell me about something that seems unrelated, but a month from now, I'll remember that her husband works in a grocery store and we need food for this party. You know? So building those, like figuring out all of the pieces of the puzzle, I guess, is really interesting to me. And then of course getting to blow off everything that feels like work and go bombing through the fields on the cute little pony is all benefit.
True.
They would laugh at me when I first started and we were all kind of trying to figure out who we were, because I'd like do all the things and then be like, I can't sit here anymore. And I'd be out back like with the push mower. I was like, just have to do something that I can see like it's done and it looks good now. So that ability to just mix it up and be like, I cannot sit at this desk anymore. What else needs to be done?
Mm-hmm.
That appeals to me.
Yeah, get it. And finally, do you have any advice for someone who might want to pursue the same career as you?
I think my first advice would be that my path doesn't have to be your path at all. Like people come to this in a lot of different ways. And so focus on the thing that speaks to you. I started out by focusing on the horses and caring for them because that was what spoke to me. And then this whole other world opened up. Generally speaking, if you're wanting to get into the equine assisted activities and therapies field, go volunteer somewhere. Pretty much everybody starts as a volunteer somewhere. Just get your feet wet, your hands dirty, try something out, and opportunities will open for you because it's very much an industry where everybody is needed. And so if you say, once you're there and they know you, if you say, hey, I'd like to try blah, 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 they will be happy to do that with you. When I was an intern, the staff there were always grabbing me and being like, hey, this cool thing is happening. You should come and look. You should come, you know, whatever the vet's doing or this person's doing a training for the instructors. You're not an instructor, but this will be cool. Come out anyway. Stay open to whatever learning presents itself to you.
Okay, that's great advice. Well, that's all I had for today. Thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely. Thanks for talking to me. It was great to see you again.
Yep, great seeing you too. Thanks.